You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a colding gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Simple, dear, I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love was in ever again. I lay with
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. John Lithium, BCat, welcome. Quad Bennett, Narwhal, Bad Lefty, Blue Tomato, Kirkenstein's Monster, Michael Hassler, Nadia, welcome everybody. Hola, indeed, welcome. I have some things to do, so I'll be right back in a minute. Appreciate that. Alright, folks, do all the things, check out all the links and all the stuff and all the things. Have you checked out all the stuff? Spread the word, folks. Spread the word. Check out my show on this space on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to support the channel directly, there's the links. Check out the merch store, hit the exclamation mark tip. Join the Discord, folks. Check out the Substack. Do all the things and all the stuff. Let's get started, folks.
We are doing phenomenally well. This is the greatest economy we've ever had.
In addition to more expensive childcare costs, higher prices pretty much across the board, much bigger car payments.
Our energy costs are way down. Our groceries are way down. Everything is way down.
I just can't see how people with a normal job making $15 an hour can afford an apartment without multiple roommates.
The prices of homes has escalated over the last few decades much faster than actual incomes.
500,000 people in the U.S. living in RVs full time.
I don't want to hear about the affordability because right now we're much less.
The American people have turned against you, Mr. President. You've gone from leading by 9 points in inflation to being 26 points underwater. You're doing something very wrong in the minds of the American public.
Over the course of the year, they might make enough money to pay for basic living expenses and cover their bills. But if one major thing happens, then they can get behind.
Student loans weren't really a thing for baby boomers.
If she voted for you 3 different times, but she
Hate the word phenomenal.
is not happy about how her prices have not come down. I guess what do you say to Regina and people like her? Well, I do
Greatest economy ever. Yay, wait until I tell my effing bank account.
say this, beef we have to get down. I think of groceries. You know, it's an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word. Beef we have to get down, but we've got prices way down.
Like groceries. Hey, plebs. Hey, plebeian folk. Your greatest president just learned a new word. It's a bit old-fashioned. It's called groceries. Have you heard of it? This newfound word, groceries.
3 in 4 Americans, 75% overall, who say Trump's not paying enough attention to lowering costs.
I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million.
President Trump held a lavish Great Gatsby Halloween party at Mar-a-Lago just hours before.
Things are going so well. My cousin used to say it constantly, these french fries are phenomenal, this pie is phenomenal, this movie's phenomenal, nothing is phenomenal, everything is phenomenal. True. Yeah, because he hasn't brought his own since the 70s. What does one say instead of groceries?
For the estimated 42 million people lost SNAP benefits.
He threw another extravagant party at Mar-a-Lago for his celebrity friends and loyal supporters, featuring opera performances, ice sculptures, and a lavish dinner, all while taking steps to cut benefits for the most vulnerable.
Nice. Nice. I say goddamn the groceries. Yeah, I hear that.
Even among Republicans, that solid Republican base who oftentimes approves of Trump's job by 85, 90%, 57% of them say that Trump's not paying enough attention.
Yeah, so remember when the White House tried to, like, dishonestly put this guy on one of their social media posts saying that Trump is one of the most influential presidents because of the Tariff Act, because of the tariffs, not realizing that what this guy is actually talking about was the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act from the 1930s, because he's the most influential president when it comes to that since the 30s, and obviously the context being that there was a Great Depression after that. So cool, fantastic. I get the feeling that Trump's total vocabulary could fit on an old floppy disk. Probably. Yeah, let them eat ballroom.
Lowering costs.
Harry Emden.
I put together that compilation to demonstrate how, perhaps for the first time ever, Trump isn't able to brainwash people and construct this false reality because Americans have actual firsthand experience with the affordability crisis that he's trying to deny. And him denying this affordability crisis and not trying to address it in any meaningful way is destroying his presidency. He's hemorrhaging support among Latino voters, in part because he hasn't delivered on the affordability crisis like he promised, and he's not helping himself by throwing lavish parties and chumming it up with corporate executives and Wall Street CEOs while ignoring the concerns of working class Americans. And he's even starting to lose the support of some evangelicals and Catholics who just don't want to be associated with his Gestapo-like mass deporters. We're talking about the MAGA diehards are starting to turn on him, in particular because of comments like this.
Does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't
have.
Soul Life, welcome. I went to a drag show last week and she performed in a giant coupe glass. I felt Trump stole the idea from her unironically.
Talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles.
Now, what he said there is troubling, even if you're not a xenophobic piece of shit, because he's essentially insulting Americans by saying that they're not talented enough to do these jobs when they can do these jobs. It's just that you have no interest in training them to do said jobs because that would require you to invest in trade schools and public education, which Republicans don't want to do. One, because if more people learn critical thinking skills, there'd be less Republican voters. And two, because capitalists would rather import foreign laborers because they're easier to abuse and exploit. But I agree that America should try to attract the most talented people in the world as well. However, nobody's going to want to come here if they're afraid of being rounded up by his fascist fucking Gestapo. But putting aside my issues with his comments, here's what some of his biggest dick riders had to say in response to what he said there. Matt Moore said, I'm one of the largest pro-Trump commentators in the nation. I get tens of millions of views every single month talking about Trump's America First agenda, and right now I
agree. It's kind of like a misnomer, right? There's no such thing as like high skill, low skill, right? It's just like all a job. Yeah, it's kind of like a kind of classist kind of nomenclature, right? To say, it's person Johnny, from the street, was pulled aside, and now he is a full-on factory worker. Of course, absolutely
fucking.
It does not have to be a high-skilled job. That's true, but it's kind of like that's kind of throws in the face of that concept of high skill
beyond
and low skill jobs.
That tonight, as a justification for H-1B visas, Trump said that Americans don't have talent. Absolutely unreal. Mike Cernovich says Trump broke everyone's heart with this line about the American workforce and H-1Bs. Kevin Bass says Trump hates America and Americans. This is the only explanation I can come up with for this pattern of behavior. He wants to import the third world to take Americans' jobs.
Right. I mean, like, yeah. That's pretty gross. That's a pretty gross statement to think. But okay. Weird Mike Cernovich is still around. I know. I remember 15 to 20 years ago, working in a factory was seen as a working class job, too. Yeah. The economic numbers are published are completely falsified. What's happening to the reality is getting extreme as overrun by the bare minimum. Slice needed. Polls are also falsified. Yeah, I mean, we know that the data from the government regarding like actual numbers with unemployment and economic data is not really trustworthy. I agree.
Kongmin Lee says, completely tone deaf. This is an utter betrayal of the entire base who voted to put America first. Indistinguishable from Vivek's H-1B crash out, calling Americans lazy and untalented. We don't have exceptional talent in America, really? Dominic Michael Trippi says, this is absolutely pathetic. This week was an all-time low point, completely out of touch. And keep in mind, this is just a tiny fraction of the outrage that he sparked with those comments, but there are other MAGA diehards who are starting to grow disenchanted with him on other issues as well. The ongoing GOP civil war that we're seeing right now is a result of most of MAGA knowing that Trump's ship is sinking, and they're currently jockeying for supremacy in the post-Trump world that we're all about to enter relatively soon. Like, why do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene made her recent heel turn? Did she hit her head and suddenly become more reasonable? Like, did she get trapped in some sort of Freaky Friday-esque body swap with John Fetterman? No, she is making a political calculation. She sees the writing on the wall, and she wants to be there to pick up the pieces when Trump's regime falls apart. On top of that, there's a power struggle within the GOP between the Groyper Nazi types who've captured the hearts of young Republicans and the more establishment Republican types like Ben Shapiro, who are...
Seth Evans, welcome. I just watched to live life bereft of class consciousness is such a pitiable existence. I just watched Kyle Kalinske of MAGA voters burning their Trump merch. It was laced with anti-Semitism, but they're mad at him and on Team Marjorie Taylor Greene is a thing apparently. Yep. Yeah, heel to Trump. Yeah, exactly. Posey, welcome. There's going to be a recession in the next 8 months or so, calling it now. I mean, it's almost, you can almost say that like we're pretty much here. Bruno, welcome. The economic numbers haven't been trustworthy since Reagan at minimum, and there have been high odds that predated even him.
Trying to uphold the elitist Trumpian status quo. And this infighting would not be happening if there wasn't already widespread dissatisfaction with Trump in the first place. And it's happening because they smell blood in the water. And to make matters even worse, it is getting increasingly difficult for any conservative to defend Donald Trump because we are getting closer to the truth about him and Jeffrey Epstein, and it is not looking good, to put it mildly. And on that note, on Wednesday, Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released emails where Jeffrey Epstein told Michael Wolff, of course Trump knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Now, in a different email from Epstein to Maxwell, he said, that dog that hasn't barked is Trump.
Yeah, I mean, like, how much of this is going to move, like, the needle against Trump within the Republican Party is probably not very much. Probably not. I don't know. They seem to be able to perform Olympic levels of mental gymnastics to pretty much justify just about anything he's done. So I don't know if this is going to matter for the MAGA movement per se. But that's my two cents. Yeah, and we find once again it's the Democratic Party's attempt to serve the two diametrically opposed masters of the working and ruling classes. that even permits Republicans to confuse anyone. Trump leaves everyone unsatisfied. True. To confuse anyone on about what the working classes or interests are, or who's trying to advance policy protective of those interests. It doesn't in part because it's relatively easy to reason away a lot of these emails. Yeah, I mean, I guess like I've heard some incredible justification for stuff, like even before the emails, right? Like just stuff that he's said, like flat out, like on video, stuff that he's said on video. That's irrefutable. They just perform Olympic levels of mental gymnastics, right? Like, for example, when he said, when he said that, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her, right? Like they'll turn themselves into pretzels and say like, well, he was just saying that he was just saying that his daughter's beautiful, right? Like not completely going against the entire context of what he said right there in front of her. It's on video, by the way. It's on video. They only believe what they're told, not what they see. It shows how badly Trump is handling the Epstein optics. Trump, the Republican poll numbers that never budge are as fake as the econ stats. Well, I mean, polls in aggregate do provide us context. One individual poll may not, but yeah, it seems to me like there's always some information to glean off. It should be enough that even a guy like Epstein considered Trump to be gross. Yep, I agree. Ladybug, welcome. We don't have the full context, so it's impossible to be 100%. With even 5% wiggle room, it can be denied. Yep. Mental gymnastics indicates they know right from wrong, which isn't assured. No, not at all.
Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. And in another...
That's right. He also welcomed Violet Quinlaw. He also said that what they have in common was sex, which is like, I mean, like, please, like, explain that one to me. Of course, they won't talk about it.
Email, Epstein says, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-NY business people have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip, which is a reference to Michael Cohen, his former fixer who did indeed flip. Now, in a separate email from Michael Wolff to Epstein, he's talking about the ways that Epstein can leverage the dirt that he has on Donald Trump during the 2016 election to his own benefit. But after these emails were released by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, Republicans on the same committee decided to drop an additional 20,000 files. And I honestly do not know what their motivations were here. I mean, it's possible that they were doing this to try to defend Trump, maybe try to overwhelm reporters in a desperate attempt to distract from the worst revelations that Democrats were going to release. But I mean, there's already so much more incriminating things in the files that they released about Donald Trump that are coming out, like specifically the one about how he knows Donald Trump's dirty business at Jeffrey Epstein. Like, that came from the Republican drop. So I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, like, none of this looks good. Yeah, just to be clear, like, we didn't need the we didn't need the Epstein list to kind of deduce that Donald Trump was a predator. You didn't need the Epstein files to know that he was a predator. It was known. He talked about it. He bragged about it. When you're famous, they just let you do it. That's a direct quote. Michael Wolff is such a vile little creature too, man. This guy's been acting like he's blowing the cork off the Epstein thing with new revelations. But he'd known about this stuff for over a decade, did not release most of it, and now the emails show he's basically a PR lackey to Epstein. Yep, sick little guy. I'm just me, welcome. Yeah, people already knew he was a PDF. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like the guy, again, all of these videos, all of these things, all of these clips that I'm talking about, the way he sexualizes his daughter, the way he told that little girl, I think it was like in 1995, or the 2005, I don't know, but a while ago, you know, he turned around and pointed out a little girl and said, I'd be dating her in 10 years, which is incredibly gross. Incredibly gross stuff. He's talked about how he has walked into changing rooms of the pageants that he owned. He bragged about it on the Howard Stern show. That's a clip you can look up. That's a clip you can look up. He's literally bragging to Howard Stern about going into changing rooms. Incidentally, he owned not just the regular pageant, Miss USA, but he also owned Teen USA. That's right. He owned Teen USA. I mean, like, the fact that he owned a pageant is already kind of like a red flag, because anyone who knows about the pageant business knows how weird that business is. But yeah, he owned not just the regular Teen USA, but not just the regular Miss USA, but the teen one too. Wolf Glen, welcome. Yeah, inspectors of junior pageants, that's right. Any good father treats their daughters as sexual kryptonite. You would rather burn your eyes out than accidentally seeing or even writing "this grosses me out." Right, of course. But nobody talks like that except a predator. Right? Like, who talks about, like, can you imagine, like, you know, I don't have a daughter, but I have a sister, right? Like, can you imagine, like, talking about my sister that way? I can't, because I never did. I never have. It's so weird, man. Like, you know, I don't know how you could possibly ever justify it. Yeah, same with the model agency. For anyone that cared to look into his past, it became obvious what he is pretty fast. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Like, we didn't need the Epstein files. It's just like, it's just that the Epstein files provide like a better understanding at the depravity that we're dealing with. And incidentally, this is the president of the United States being implicated in all this stuff. I mean, like, it's all just gross stuff that we're learning. And people actively voted for this. People actively voted for this, knowing who he was. Okay, because this wasn't hidden. This wasn't hidden, you know, knowledge that you had to go find. It was pretty widely available from the first time he ran. Again, all these clips are not new clips that just happened to be created. These are old interviews. These are old media appearances that he just literally just said, you know, out loud in public. Yeah, all the red flags. Imagine a person like Jeffrey Epstein, who's already a very disgusting person, saying Trump is a vile person. Yeah. Multiple POTUSes. All the stuff, most of the stuff was stuff he said on TV in the 90s and 2000s. Yeah. No, nothing that wasn't already available, that was actually being brought up during the first 2015 run. Like, people brought this up, like, hey, this guy is kind of gross, man. This guy's kind of a predator. You know, with the whole Hollywood Access tapes, that was a big thing in the first campaign run for anyone who bothered to pay attention. Like, you didn't have to do like very deep research either. This is not like something that you had to like really research and take your time. It was all there. So I don't know, like, why people are just like surprised Pikachu facing right now, to find out that their dear leader is like some kind of predator. This is not news. It's just, I guess we just have more depth and more details about his possible involvement in these Epstein files. But it's just wild they vetted him and saw that and said, okay, we'll have him as the president candidate for the party. I mean, he won the primary, right? So, like, not having this knowledge didn't stop them from letting this continue. So, you know, the maggots are just turning Groyper, not making any left turns. I think a lot of the newer MAGAs, definitely. It's been something we've been tracking for a while. So, yeah, I tend to agree with you. You must learn from Mussolini, but hopefully they split the party. Maybe. Because so I know that some of them might split, but the overall movement is probably, as long as Donald Trump is around, the movement is probably gonna stay cohesive.
It doesn't seem like it's very beneficial to Trump if this was indeed an attempt to be a pro-Trump move. But I mean, they haven't done an about face, to be clear, because Donald Trump's administration literally held a meeting in the fucking Situation Room with Lauren Boebert in order to pressure her to withdraw her signature from Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna's discharge petition that would force
blackmailability is an asset. No kidding.
Vote on the
no truer freaking statements have been said about this situation. Yeah, 100,000%. Depending on how the Groyper's Iowa war goes, it's not going great for the conservatives. I'll tell you that. To give you an idea of how that is going. Yeah. Mussolini was also a predator in addition to being a fascist. Huh. No wonder Trump looked up to Mussolini.
Epstein files in the House, because now that the government is opening back up again and Adelita Grijalva is going to be the 218th vote after she's sworn in, if they can flip one of the three Republicans, Mace, Green, and Boebert, who signed onto that discharge petition, then they could stop it from passing. And by the time this video even hits YouTube, like, chances are you're going to see so many more revelations that could be even worse than the ones that I just talked about. But even if that's not the case, the emails the Democrats released are incriminating enough. They indicate that the president of the United States was allegedly aware of Epstein's sex trafficking ring, and even suggests that he participated in it and abused kids himself, allegedly. And even though MAGA loyalists...
This is not... this is literally, like, not out of the realm of possibility from the guy that literally just points at... Can without skipping a beat, point at a child and say that he'll be dating her in X years, right? Like, it's just, look, it doesn't matter. Like, even if the child, because the child was very young, I think she was like 10. It doesn't matter. Like, it's incredibly creepy for a, what, like 50 something year old at the time. Even if she was like 15 or 17, like, oh, in a year I'll be dating you. Like, bro, what? No, man, that's no, stop. That is not okay. That is predator behavior. Pedocon theory just can't miss. Yep. Undefeated. I suspect he's blackmailing people in other countries for his trade BS. Or maybe he's the one that's being blackmailed. Now that Tucker and Nick both have said Trump's not fulfilling promises, I thought Trump would side with Zios, but he seems to be chasing them jilted lover style. Yeah, I mean... yeah. I think they're saying that the Midas Touch video, folks made a video on it, circulating that talking point. That would be creepy from a 13-year-old. Yeah, like even a 15-year-old, even like a 17-year-old. Like imagine like a 50-something-year-old man pointing at you and going like, yeah, you know, in 2 years or 3 years, I'll be dating you. What? Ew. Bro.
are trying to deny this and defend him on Twitter, just like they did about the birthday letter, that he sent to Epstein that was later proven to be true. Trump's reputational fate has already been sealed, whether they want to admit that or not. And anyone still defending Trump at this late date will eventually be attacked for protecting an alleged pedophile.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, dude. Like, it doesn't matter, man. I'm sorry. Like, if you're defending Trump after all this continues to come out, again, none of this is new. None of it. None of it's new. None of this is new. None of this is, like, breaking. It's all just kind of... more evidence, right, to the original conversation. Like, dude, the guy's a predator, okay? The guy is a predator. He's a con man. He's a predator. He's a fraudster. All these things. And you still made him president. Oh, I see what you mean. Even the 13 making a comment about a 10-year-old would be creepy. Right, yeah, it's creepy on its surface, right? Like, dude, I don't care. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm going to be dating you in like X amount of years? Yeah, it sounds ridiculous on its face, like surely statistically speaking on its face, not all of them, but then reality just keeps piling up brick by brick by brick of evidence. Yep. I would not trust a conservative to babysit the hypothetical kids I've never had, and reality just keeps giving more and more validation for my decision to not have certainly. Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, dude, even if you yourself are not like, if you yourself are like one of these conservative types, you know what I'm talking about, and you defend this stuff, then like you are you're that guy, you're that person. You're that person. They don't really care who they're lining up to follow. Nick Fuentes, Vance, Tucker, whoever the authoritarian follows line up, marching in lockstep behind whatever designated leader. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's just a matter of how much and how efficient that leader is. Because I can tell you, it won't be the same when Trump leaves or his, health issues happen. It just won't be the same. Like, yeah, of course, the movement is going to exist to an extent. They're going to line up behind whoever, maybe Nick Fuentes, maybe JD Vance, whoever. But it won't be the same. I was trying to sound like Meg R. Kelly. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, in England, it's called being a nonce. Where the sadists, there are pedos. So the more sadistic the group of people, the more likely to have pedos and sexual abusers. It's non-conspiratorial. Yeah, I mean, makes sense, right? Like also like authoritarianism, right? This authoritarian mindset where you believe that people may be beneath you. Yeah, I think that tends to lean hard into abuser behavior, right? Because if you have this like ideology, right, whether you're just like a more traditional fascist or a Nazi fascist or any type of like this really hardcore authoritarian, you fundamentally believe that you are superior, right? Like that's the whole point. You believe that you are superior, so therefore it is not too hard to make that step to be an abuser, right? It's not really that many steps to take from having this ideology to actually be an abuser, right?
Full stop. So if you're a Republican with political ambitions and you know that this will one day be used against you in an attack ad, what do? Do you jeopardize your credibility for short-term gain? And
that's exactly it. It's easy to abuse someone that you dehumanize and no one is human to them. Right. So it makes it very easy, right? So it's not that far-fetched to understand why Pedicon theory is undefeated. As a woman, it was creepy. Even when I was 19 and 20, a man who was twice my age and had been at school with my classmates' parents aggressively trying to make it to bed. He's famous, rich, but to me, it's gross. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just bad behavior. It's gross. It's predatory behavior. You don't do that. You don't do that kind of stuff. Like, it's just even worse when, you come to find out that they're talking about a child. They're talking about a 10-year-old. None of that is okay, Blue Tomato. And that is disgusting, and I'm sorry that happened to you.
Bend a pedophile potentially? Or do you take the temporary hit to your reputation so you can later brag about how you were one of the first to abandon Donald Trump? Decisions. And I should note that morality is not part of their calculation whatsoever. Like, they don't care about doing what's right or wrong. They care about what is going to benefit them the most politically. But
Yeah,
Epstein
100%.
is one of many nails in the eventual coffin of Trump's regime, because he's also violating international law by bombing boats in the Caribbean, and he's threatening to invade Nigeria over false claims of a Christian genocide. He also could be remembered as the president who oversaw a ban on hemp, which destroyed a multi-billion-dollar industry. He's cartoonishly corrupt and used the office of the presidency to rake in billions in personal wealth. And
Yep.
he's not just dumb and petulant and petty. He makes policy decisions literally based on superficial standards of beauty. Superficial standards of beauty, might I add, that he doesn't live up to himself. And I say this because, as the New Republic reports, President Neckpussy ordered immigration officials to deny visas to people for being obese. I guess he's apparently never looked in a mirror himself. But on top of that, I don't think it's too early to...
Yep. It's called rape culture, and it's enabled by capitalism. I think there is a big conversation to be had about that. But yeah, sorry, if you don't like Class and the Truth, any of my unaware friends who still believe capitalism can be reformed. But GNN getting shut down, I did lose main space. I used to be able to jump into socializing, so I haven't been so much trolling HH. That's just not the same. Well, I hope
Declared that
I hope they do bring Galactic News Network. I mean, you can still catch the show on Twitch, but yeah, that's unfortunately facts, Bad Lefty. Unfortunately, facts.
He lost the trade war that he launched, with more countries buying from China now than they were before the trade war began. And to all of the MAGA dipshits who claim that this would hurt China more than the US, what do you have to say now? All I hear is crickets from you. See, because Donald Trump, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. China is playing chess while Trump is playing Candyland and slobbering all over the board like a fucking idiot. And worst of all, he is on track to rack up a higher body count than George W. Bush, if you can believe that. Not only because of the 50,000 Americans that'll die every single year because of the healthcare cuts that he made to finance tax cuts for the rich, but because he is gutting USAID, and it's already killed hundreds of thousands of people in countries like Sudan, specifically almost 200,000.
Yep. The hemp industry is, or was, a $60 billion a year industry, hundreds of thousands of jobs. This administration is doing so much damage, death by 1,000 cuts. Yep, I find 100% of belief capitalism can be reformed necessarily comes from just not understanding. We're giving the maximum charity, allowing the possibility I've tried to imagine and cannot that actually somehow it can be reformed, contrary to the conclusion I believe in is capable of, not obvious that it can't. I can't see if I'm getting censored and can't connect to Twitch. Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, it's been a minute since I've seen any messages, so maybe it is. Trump is the clown in the White House. Yep, but a clown with a flamethrower and with the propensity to use it. Candyland is a ruthless game. It's almost always people with that defend capitalism argue it's reformable, so, to do so from a lack of shared understanding from what it even is. Because most don't actually have a stake in what's going on as what's best for them, same as capitalists. Yep. Hadn't have been legal like the whole time weed was illegal? Yeah, but don't expect any type of logic from these people. Did my comment about homophobia and misogyny get through? No, apparently it did not, but because I didn't see it. Right, like we talked about, I think it was last week, about how capitalism, the conversation around capitalism has morphed into this kind of dogmatic, religious kind of almost discussion, right? Where you can't, you can't disagree with capitalism. The Constitution in the U.S. is written on hemp paper. You can't ban the Constitution. Well,
1,000 adults and more than 400,000 children, with an average of 88 deaths per hour. And that's on top of the genocide that he's funding in Sudan by arming the UAE's military, who arms the RSF, which just committed a fucking massacre in El Fasher. They went into a maternity ward and they killed countless people. You can see the blood from outer space, literally. And we haven't even touched on the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza that he's complicit with, which is still occurring, by the way, in spite of the so-called ceasefire that he negotiated. So, like it or not, future history books will regard Donald Trump as one of the worst presidents and one of the most destructive forces in human history, who kneecapped what little progress we were making towards the fight against climate apocalypse at a crucial time. The question is when the rest of society will reach this inevitable conclusion. And I would argue that the answer is sooner rather than later.
I hope so, because I don't have as much optimism as Mike here, but I fully support that energy. And to paraphrase our favorite MR host, they wiped their ass with it. True. If we get another Dem president, they won't do a good version of what Trump did. It'll be a crawl back to status quo, and then they'll lose the next election. I mean, that is the Democratic MO, but I don't know. It can't be like that. It can't be this way. If not, then yeah, it's GG's, everybody.
Doesn't realize that most Americans, they can look past a lot of shit. They can look past the harm that he's causing to a lot of people so long as it doesn't affect them personally. We all know this. Americans are
I agree. Dems need to wake the F up and stop thinking everything goes back to normal if they win 26 and 28. Correct. But, you know, I don't trust them to, but they absolutely need to. Or need to be, or they simply need to be confronted, whether it be I don't know, a third party or something, or pushed out in primaries. But yeah, though we cannot go back to thinking that things are normal. Their homophobia, misogyny interlock here into the rank and file right. Okay, so that message went through.
Excuse authoritarianism, genocide, and racism so long as the economy is doing well and their bellies are full. But Trump is starting to learn the lesson that every other dictator has had to learn the hard way throughout fucking history. Your grip on power will only last so long as the population feels comfortable. If you can't keep them fed or distracted enough to realize that they're going hungry, that is when shit hits the fan. And we've officially entered the phase in Trump's autocratic reign where shit is now hitting the fan. The only real question is whether or not he responds by tightening his grip on power, cracking down more, which means things are going to get worse before they get better, or whether or not his power is just going to collapse entirely because he loses legitimacy and just doesn't have enough power to maintain the hold that he has on the country. I don't know the answer to that question, to be honest, but given how badly he's doing, I think we're all going to find out soon.
Hopefully.
I'm gonna come.
I hope so.
Do not come.
And even with the proper direction, it's going to be very hard for the U.S. with its debt and infrastructure situation. Yeah, you guys need a third party with universal housing and health platform. I wish. You know, that'd be nice. Yeah, none of these men doing anything to these girls, no matter how young, registers with them as anything wrong. Yep. Oh yeah, I agree. Because they're not seeing them as people, they're seeing them as property. I was thinking of doing this one. We'll try to get through it.
Part at the most Donald Trump is falling apart at the most hilarious time.
And it's not all just because of Epstein. In fact, at this point, things were already going so badly for Donald Trump in his second term.
Yeah, I mean, like, his numbers are pretty abysmal, right? Like, it's pretty bad. First of all, if the object of your desire can be called a girl, you have a major problem. True!
That he should actually welcome this Epstein scandal as a pleasant distraction from all of his other failures. Here's what's going on. A new poll came out just a couple days ago that revealed that Donald Trump's own support from his Republican Party has absolutely cratered. Now, granted, he still has a majority of Republicans who do approve of how he is, quote, managing the government.
Yep.
However, the number of Republicans who approve of his management of the government has fallen by 13 points since the beginning of the government shutdown. The government shutdown, combined with rising inflation, higher costs for consumers, foreign policy failures, all of that has caused even Republicans to say, I don't like what's happening.
You would have to abuse young boys for rank and file Republicans to recognize it. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but like maybe also it wouldn't stop them either. I don't know. I just think that these people are freaks. But yeah, I see what you're saying. The right spends decades moving things around and putting people in place. Yep. That's why Chuck Schumer had to come save his Princess Trump.
In this country.
That's abusing them. Yep.
So here's the numbers.
No, I agree. I agree that it might... Maybe that's when they'll wake up, but I don't know. Assuming that even happens.
Donald Trump had enjoyed an 81% approval from Republicans when asked, do you approve of his management style of the federal government? Went from 81% to 68% in this new poll. And with independents, it dropped from 38% to 25%. And among Democrats, it dropped from 9% to 5%. So across the board, more and more Americans say, I do not approve of the way he is running the government. And of course,
yeah, Lance was saying they were more upset by the idea that Trump blowing a man than kids. Yeah. That's kind of exactly what Nadia was getting at.
Of course, his overall approval rating has now hit 36%. His handling of the economy, he is now double digits underwater, I think by almost 30 points at this point. And even among Republicans, Trump's handling of the economy is dead even, about 48% to 48%. But all of this is happening during this almost perfect storm moment for the American public to be turning against Donald Trump, including his own Republican Party. The Epstein stuff really is just the icing on the cake at this point, because he was already in a very bad spot. As I mentioned, we have the economy going to crap. We have layoffs that are hitting recession levels here in the United States when we're allegedly not in a recession. The government shutdown, longest in history, costing the economy $14 billion. And those election losses at the beginning of November. All of those things combined painted a picture of a very weak and ineffective president. And then, of course, the big bomb dropped. Donald Trump knew about the girls, Epstein said. Donald Trump hung out with Epstein on Thanksgiving during his first term, over a decade after Trump said we weren't even friends anymore.
Yeah. Was the hemp ban also part of what Schumer was okay with, like paying congressmen investigating over January 6th $500,000 along with the open government? Who knows? There's no political saying. The only thing worse than being found with a dead girl is a live boy. Yeah. I think that makes sense, especially to what Nadia was saying about, misogyny and homophobia and all that. Yeah.
Everything is blowing up in his face at the same time. The public backlash to the ballroom that he is building. All of this just within the last 2 weeks, folks. And what's the end result? Well, we saw the elections. Republicans got just shellacked. We are seeing more and more Republicans come out and say, you know what? I'm going to vote to release the Epstein files now. I think we kind of do need to know what's going on. They're breaking. This has been a true the emperor has no clothes on moment for these Republicans. Not all of them, not even a majority of them, folks. I'm not saying the whole party's turned against him. But a good percentage of them have. And sometimes that's the best you can hope for. After all, if this man
Privilege, wealth, and fame and power equals debauchery.
loses, like he has 13% of his support, he's done for. Nobody in this country, no politician has the ability to lose 13% of their support and still be totally fine. So, this is a recipe for disaster for the Republican Party heading into next year's midterms, and Trump has no idea at all on how to make himself more likable.
But never underestimate the ability for Democrats to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. Never underestimate. Never underestimate the Democratic Party's ability to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. I agree. Elections aren't the end all be all. Doing stuff that helps your community and doing direct action that binds communities together, organizing, whether it be anything from organizing stuff on social media to joining unions to maybe taking part of community action to help feed people, whatever. That is far, more impactful. But at the end of the day, if the tool's there, don't leave it on the table either. They do need to change the electoral system, but I'm not sure with donors if it can be done from within the Dem Party. You kind of have to attack both, right? You have to primary corporate Dems where possible and root them out where you can. And the other is in spite of or despite of the Democratic Party, regardless of what they're doing. Schumer reopened because Dems are worried that they'd get rid of the filibusters. For fuck's sake, they didn't want to operate without a filibuster. In my honest opinion, wasn't to avoid the GOP damage in the meantime. I could buy that too. I'm increasingly convinced if we were to see those changes in our lifetime, it will most likely come as a result of less of this, or that candidate winning, and more whether or not enough people are making themselves ungovernable. Yeah, direct action, I get. Honestly, at the moment, most of the money for a third party probably in the ADL.
Better manager of the government. Sam Altman said ChatGPT will
Okay,
get
this
to...
is a hat, I believe. Okay. Trump decides to side with the Groypers in the Zio-Groyper war. It sounds like he is siding with the Nazis. I can't see the U.S. changing from a two-party system in my lifetime, but hey, that might not be that long. Yeah, and they'll continue to lose if they do that. Since Chad is talking about this, I'll just start with this. Trump defends Tucker Carlson as Nick Fuentes interview divides the MAGA world. Yeah, the division between being a Nazi and not being a Nazi. That's the division that we are currently dealing with. President Trump backed Tucker Carlson on Sunday after ex-Fox News host's interview with white nationalist Nazi Nick Fuentes triggered contentious MAGA world infighting. Trump's defense of Carlson interviewing a man labeled a white supremacist by the Justice Department puts him at odds with Republicans like Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who have condemned Carlson. Yeah, okay, right. So where are those impeachment proceedings? So, like, please, give me a break. Also, you don't need the Justice Department to put that label on. Nick Fuentes has been very proudly made these statements himself. They don't care about winning. They only care about keeping the left out of power. Yeah, they the corporate Dems are definitely like that. Before Elon mentioned a third party, the moderate Dems and Rhino GOP were having secret talks to join up and start a centrist third party, leaving AGA and the left on their own. MAGA and the left on their own. Yeah, I heard about that, but that never materialized. For the same reason, right? It's just not. There's just not. A third party is really, really difficult to get anything done. The Dems always fight the left harder than they do the Nazi right. Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah. More broadly, it underscores MAGA's divided approach towards tolerating racism, sexism, and anti-Semitism on the far right. Yeah. Well, clearly the only problem here is that it went too public. Trump will bounce back. Bounce back from what? It wasn't support from donors for a third party, but the Israel lobby is a significant lobby in the donor space. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. It won't be. It's just not. It's not that easy. Getting a third party off the ground, right? That's not. As if like that it's easy. It's not easy. The reps are meant to keep the right in line and Dems the left and donors buy all the houses. You're giving the overwhelming majority of Dems the qualifier as if they're not the norm. What do you mean by that? Trump won't bounce back from blowing Clinton. I don't even know if that's like even like a thing that happened. Honestly, I'm more concerned about, the overwhelming increasing evidence of Trump being involved in a sex trafficking ring. Velvet Avalon, thank you for the follow. Hey, Viting Nail Raid. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Dr. Nathan, thank you for the follow. Look at all these wonderful folks. Hey, Moanep. Stephanie's Girl Now, welcome. Carla's Wild Ride, thank you for the follow. Yeah, the Klinsky video I watched of MAGA burning merch saying Trump was owned by the... Oof. They haven't even released the files and you think there's overwhelming evidence? I don't need the files. Oh, it's a Trumper. Wait, it's an actual Trumper. They haven't even... I don't need the files to make that distinction. I don't need the files to make the argument that Trump is a creep. That Trump is a predator. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Hey, folks, everyone go check out twitch.tv/Vitingale. You don't need the files? No, I don't. You don't need evidence? I didn't say that. Those are two different statements. Those are two different statements. I have evidence. I'm saying I don't need the files to make that argument because there's already other evidence to make that assertion. We can see that Trump is a predator by the way he acts. By the way he acts each day. Actually, yep. Don has confessed plenty publicly. Yep. You could just trust the women. They already told us he's guilty. Yep. Even before he ran the first time. Like, this isn't news. We were talking about this earlier. Hey, real quick. What is this Predator Defender? What is this Predator Defender's name? Jazzy Kick. Oh, there he is. Okay. Jazzy Kick. What do you think? What do you think the words, the quote, the direct quote, "If she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her"? What do you think that means? Walk me through that. Walk me through that real quick. What do you think the quote, "If she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her"? What do you think that means? And why? Explain to me like I'm 5 how that's not creepy at all. The qualifier of corporate is being applied to what are the vast majority of them. It's like 4 out of 200 plus who are otherwise. Yeah, I mean, sure. That's fair. You are right. He thinks his daughter's good looking. And you think that that's an acceptable way of saying that? I mean, like, really, how does your mind perform these Olympic levels of mental gymnastics, right? Because like, why would you date what is the reason for dating someone, Jazzy? Explain to me. No, really, walk. No. If a mother calls her son handsome, is that being a creep? That's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her. Not she's I have a beautiful daughter. That's not what he said. Those are different words. He said, If she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her. Not my daughter's beautiful. That's not even remotely close to the same thing. What is the purpose of saying that you would date somebody? It's because you find them attractive at some level, right? That's why you would say I would date you. Because at some point, you don't just vibe with each other. Fundamentally, at some point, to some degree, you find that person attractive. That's why you would say I would date her. Right? Exactly. You use words he actually uses rather than try to play sick tricks with interpretation. Right. Like, you see, walk me through that one like I'm 5, okay? Yeah, very different. Thank you, Vitingale. You see, like, you people are so gross, man. You people are so disgusting that you literally go through efforts to perform Olympic levels of mental gymnastics to try to excuse predatory and creepy behavior. A jury has already established that Trump has 8 people. That's already considered a fact in court. Yeah, 100%. When I call him a predator, I literally mean that. I'm just using one example that we were just talking about earlier. I 100% agree with you, Tails and Wings. I 100% agree with you. If a mother said, if you weren't my son, I'd be dating him, then that mother's a creep and should be looked into. Yeah, exactly. Like, that would be the one-to-one that would be the one-to-one comparison. But saying like, oh, well, so if a mother says her son is handsome, then that's creepy? No. It's hard to debate morality with a party that, oh yeah, dude, fuck off. You see? You're a predator defender, dude. Yeah, go defend predators somewhere else, okay? Go defend predators somewhere else. Seriously, that's disgusting. Like, you see how these people actually defend predators and pedophiles? Pedicon theory, man. I'm telling you, you people defend literally anything. It's actually almost unbelievable. But here we are witnessing you perform these mental gymnastics to try to explain that. You see, the person was not even able to explain and walk me through how that comment isn't creepy. Okay? The only thing we got from that response was a complete deflection that has absolutely nothing to do with anything, right? Or one would call it a red herring. Incompatible comparison. And when I tried to explain and ask how we would walk this through, this comment isn't creepy. Yeah, nothing. Just gross, man. You're just gross. Get out of here. This is why I come here. This is Dirty Donnie. Dirty Donnie. That's just so disgusting, man. Like, you're defending. You're defending, like, predators, right? Like, it's just, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Like, the bar is so low that just simply not defending predators it would be a step above. But I guess you can't do it. Pedicon theory strikes again, right? All of you conservatives just decide to either defend predators or are probably predators yourselves. It's amazing. Make me dab. Okay, I got you. I truly wouldn't be surprised if it came out that he abused his sons as well. He certainly had children of various genders as accusers on record. I wouldn't surprise me either, right? It wouldn't surprise me either. There's the dab. All right, let's get moving. I thought you meant another kind of dab. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. People still have too much respect for Trump, especially foreign leaders, and he doesn't deserve any at all. I agree. All right, folks, let's keep it moving. Trump on Sunday finally waded into the Republican warfare after weeks of critics blasting Carlson for hosting the Holocaust denier, a Nazi, on his podcast. The president didn't address Fuentes' comments, of course not, but you can't tell Carlson who to interview. Nobody's saying you should or shouldn't interview anybody. They're saying that this is incredibly dangerous. Okay, like if Tucker Carlson wants to bring it upon himself to interview Nazis and mainline Nazism, that's what he's choosing to do. However, people are calling him out on it. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. He said he found Carlson to be good, and adding he said good things about me, and that's probably where it begins and ends. Trump continued, if you want to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, even though he had dinner with him. But if he wants to do it, get the word out, let him, people have to decide. Fuentes, the Nazi, responded, thank you, Mr. President, with a video of the president's remarks. When asked if the president condemned Fuentes' racist and anti-Semitic rhetoric, which is on video, Trump said he didn't know much about him, but didn't criticize Fuentes on Sunday. That's false. He absolutely knows who this was. But yeah. It's crazy to me that people have these strange British, obviously Christian conservative views on sex while also supporting Trump. Asked if he ever slept with 2 or 3 women in one day, Trump responds, I have no comment. Look, I had sex, so do you. I mean, of course, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to these people, I don't know why Trump just comes out and says, yeah, I did it, and say the most racist, bigoted thing he wants. Yeah, I mean, he like Trump said, he can shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't lose votes. So, yeah, I agree. Now, I ain't calling out Nazi platformers. That's just free speech. That's just cancel culture. Again, free speech Americans. Heat, how's it going? Trump had dinner with Fuentes, so Kanye brought him back to the cookout. Truer than ever, in fact. He reiterated that Sunday when a reporter mentioned the dinner, saying, I didn't know he was coming. So the president didn't know who was... sure. Yeah. Trump could kick a baby off the building and be okay. They blamed the baby. Yep. Carlson's friendly interview with Fuentes, in which the far-right Nazi, he's not just an activist. He's not just an activist, but okay. Oh, I guess he is. He's an activist for Nazism. So yeah, I guess so. The Nazi activist spoke of organized Jewry in America. The full quote was, uniting the country against organized Jewry. And the context of that was identity politics, and how actually you can't ignore identity politics. You can't separate Jewishness from the people. That's his argument. MAGA's abandoning him little by little. I hope so. Enough of them, anyways. I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, if you're at a dinner table with 9 Nazis, and there are 10 Nazis at the table, exactly. The Texas senator, organized Jewry in America, has already become fodder for Cruz's potential 2028 bid. The Texas senator is leaning into his feud with Carlson and into the ideological tensions that are dividing the president's movement for a possible presidential run. Cruz recently called Carlson a coward and complicit in evil for his conduct in Fuentes' interview. Yeah, but you all vote with Trump's agenda, won't you? You all fundamentally believe the same thing. You just don't like it out in the open. Ben Shapiro, another major MAGA media voice, also lambasted Carlson over the interview, calling him an intellectual coward and a dishonest interlocutor. Trump is not alone within the Republican Party in his defense of Carlson. MTG, whom the president recently had severed ties, said on CNN State of the Union that she does admire Carlson for interviewing many people, including Nazis. Yeah, Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts also stood by Carlson, a close friend of the Heritage Foundation, who he said in a video is being attacked by a venomous coalition. Added, I agree, I disagree and even abhor things that Nick Fuentes says, but canceling him is not the answer either. Yeah, okay. I could not even hear what you said. I thought you were saying the word jewelry, i.e. ring and necklace. No. That must be my bad pronunciation. But yeah, no, the Nick Fuentes, the context is Nick Fuentes said that in the Tucker Carlson interview, that, the biggest obstacle is organizing, the American public against organized Jewry. Last Monday at this exact time, my Uber was $10 cheaper than overage. Today it's almost $10 more expensive than usual. What the F? I don't know. I don't know what sets the Uber prices. Because it varies. It's so different. It's crazy how bad Trump is, but he won the popular vote. I know. It's kind of wild. To begin with, like the popular vote, the amount of people that voted may not all support Trump. Because that could be an aspect of it too. I mean, after all, they were running against a really bad candidate. So that's not really like that surprising. Monster, so much boost, so little time over here. But yeah, I mean, he could still, let's say, like, even that's like, let's say Trump won by an overwhelming majority, right? Like not by 1 or 2% like how he did. I'm talking about, let's say if Trump in 2024 would have won by like, I don't know, 30 freaking points or whatever. It doesn't make the stuff that he's doing right. It doesn't make the stuff that he's doing good. Yeah, they support all the same shit that's in Project 2025. They just don't like the peace stain on their agenda that Treason 45 is putting on it. Sounds bad for me to say I think MAGA wants to hold on to an illusion. I mean, MAGA is their entire thing is based on a lie. Their entire thing is an illusion. I think also this is important. If Bitcoin and crypto in general crashes, regardless of how the rest of the market does, the Bitcoin crash can also be exploited to sever Trump's support from him. Maybe. Well, Democrats wanted Bernie, but the DNC never let it happen. Yeah, that's true, but what does that have to do with Trump winning the popular vote? Like, if Trump, the implication is like, well, if Trump's so bad, right, then how did he win the popular vote? Well, it doesn't matter. He could win the popular vote and still be bad. I don't know what this has to do with the Democrats and the DNC shafting Bernie. If Trump won by 75 million votes, I would have to leave the country. Yeah, the world is a world of alternative facts. Yep. Facing backlash, Roberts later sought to clarify his statements condemning Fuentes' vicious anti-Semitic ideology. You mean Nazis? His Holocaust denial and relentless conspiracy theories that echo the darkest chapters of history. But it's funny because like all these people don't seem to want to acknowledge, okay, that the only reason this is happening is because Nazis feel comfortable in your camp. So why do Nazis feel comfortable in your home? Maybe Bernie makes it more competitive. Maybe he would have probably won against Trump. But that didn't happen. Trump says he would sign the bill to release the Epstein files if it reaches his desk. I think he knows it's coming, folks. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. Nazis have always been in the Republican Party. They used to be quiet about it. Yeah. It's just now that they're very much open. And now they're all freaking out because they're all coming out of the woodwork. But yeah, if your party movement ideology is fine is making Nazis feel comfortable at home, then maybe, I don't know, maybe some introspection is probably warranted. I don't know, you know. The popular vote really only says so much when at most half of the adult population is voted. I hope Trump makes America great again. He won't and hasn't and will not. I don't understand what the point of that comment was. He's also lying and Trump is still lying. Yep. I keep hoping. Like, what? Me too, Marge. Me too. It's okay. He won't. He's not going to. He didn't. He never did. He never won't. He never will. And he doesn't want to. So I don't know why people think that this is, that's going to be a thing. Joe Country not going to lie. True. Can I like share that? No, it's not like the other stuff. Not like the other software where I can highlight comments. Whatever. America's decade of humiliation. True. And I'm here for it, you know. Sorry, guys, but somehow you're doing even worse than the UK is, and that's miserable. Yep. I think 45 won this time around, not because the GOP did a better job of getting people out to vote or a huge influx of new voters, but because the DNC, the Biden administration, and proposed Harris administrations supported an ongoing live stream genocide and police state, among other things like most lethal military. Oh yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of reasons. You know, like you said, the Harris campaign was horrible. The Biden administration was horrible. Yeah, there's just nothing to vote for. Nothing to vote for is the problem. You need that comment highlighter ASAP. Yeah, I do like doing that sometimes. Donald Trump is not going to sign that on his own will. Maybe he knows that if he tries to veto it, like, the Congress will override his veto. So that's about as much as I can think. Donald Trump on Monday said he would sign the bill to compel the Justice Department to release all the files relating to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein if it comes to his desk. I'm all for it, he said. First again, if moments later he would sign the bill, he said, sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it, let anybody look at it, but don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it from us. It's really a Democrat problem. I mean, like, phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal stuff happening. Phenomenal stuff happening. Technically, no one primaried Harris. She just got a free pass and failed. Yeah, I mean, at that point, there was no time for primaries, right? Like, at that point, they let Joe Biden stay in the race way too long.
Everyone's talked about, and that is the disclosure. Make no mistake about it.
Hey,
Trump has changed his story several times.
Anyways, when I was rudely interrupted, yeah, there was no time for that. Now, if Biden would have stepped down with ample amount of time to allow a primary, that would have been, a different story. But, he didn't. And by the time he was forced to step down, it was already too late. Biden made Harris unelectable during his term with all the border stuff and Gaza stuff. Yep. The veto will buy him more time, though, so he'll veto. I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe so. Said by a smart raider. I think Treason 45 won this time around, not because the VOP did a better job at getting people out. Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree. The concept was a Medicare for all strategy of getting universal healthcare by having the UK take over, and the NHS would theoretically have been inherited. Oh, you mean like the right-wing swing? Yeah. Make America great, Britain again came from before it was apparent how catastrophic Brexit was going to be and how far to the right the UK was going to turn. Letting Biden stay in was a mistake. How long did the DOJ have the Epstein files? Do you really think the files had not been altered? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. we do know that there's we do know that there's certain individuals that seem to have a common theme, you know, so it'd be kind of weird if we get like, let's say the Epstein files get like released tomorrow or something, and there's like, wait a minute, we don't see President Trump's name anywhere in this. That would be like, you know, suspicious, right? Even though we were told by the Department of Justice that Trump's name actually did appear several times, over a dozen times, actually. So if all of a sudden, you know, we get the Epstein files and there's like a suspiciously less amount of mentions of Trump or something like that, then we'd know probably. Yeah, release the files and let folks run forensics on it. Yep, that's also true. I still assume Trump will veto it if he can't get the Senate to stop it. Yeah, that might be the case. Pretending that he's okay with releasing the files and then like ultimately no, he wants it to die in the Senate. Harris made herself unelectable. Did she even have a policy that wasn't copy-pasted from the Biden policy? Yeah, I think that was one of the problems. One of the major problems is that she didn't offer an alternative to Trump, and she didn't offer an alternative to the Biden administration, really. So why would anyone come out and vote? You know, presumably, right? Why would anyone want to just have more of the same when Biden was incredibly unpopular? I think the Senate will not pass it. Maybe. Trump can order the release of the Epstein files right now. Yeah, he could actually. He could. He could. That's a good, you know, the response to that would be, well, yes, Redmond, that's correct. So why hasn't he? Yeah, you bring up a very good point. All right, folks, we gotta get out of here. So judge finds profound missteps in U.S. probe of FBI ex-chief James Comey. I don't really care about James Comey. I gotta be honest. The only thing here that we can clean off this information is that obviously the Trump administration is weaponizing the Justice Department against perceived political enemies. You know, the very thing Trump was accusing the other side of doing. So, yeah. Every accusation is just a confession, right? The point being is that, yeah, it's true. It seems to me the case that the Trump administration is weaponizing the Justice Department against perceived enemies. And I suspect it won't stop. There's an ongoing investigation and I can't talk about it. No mandatory voting on U.S. Pam Bondi will be thrown in jail after her term as AG. I hope so. Because yeah, I hope not only like will this thing kind of break open this whole investigation into like Jeffrey Epstein, the list and whatnot and people involved, but also like Pam Bondi too, because she was the original Florida AG that let Jeffrey Epstein off the hook in Florida. New international student enrollment fell sharply this year amid the Trump administration's immigration crackdown because nobody wants to come here for fear of being caught up in the Gestapo. Will Bondi be released on bond? So Bondi's on the hook for letting him off the hook. I hadn't made that connection before. Yeah. Yeah, that's why she's there, because I've got a feeling that Trump knew that this may or may not come back to haunt him. So yeah, I mean, she's the one that did this originally in Palm Beach. New international student enrollment in the U.S. institutions declined by 17% in fall 2025, the largest non-pandemic decline in the last 11 years, according to new data released on Monday by the Institute of International Education, a nonprofit that works to encourage foreign study. This figure from a preliminary report covering a portion of the institution comes on the heel of a 7% drop in new international enrollees in the 2024 to 2025 academic year. More than half of the 825 U.S. higher education institutions surveyed in the fall of 2025 snapshots reported a decrease in new international enrollment. The U.S. is no longer the central place that students aspire to come to, said Fanta Aw, the CEO of NAFSA, Association of International Educators, a nonprofit group. Attributed the decline to difficulties obtaining a U.S. visa, saying the issues had made the U.S. less competitive on the global stage. Yeah, thanks, Donald Trump. As if a Vladimir Lenin-style revolution turns it into a completely different country. I think there's another one that was not that didn't come through, but 2 through 5 seem to have come through. So I guess the first part didn't. I know that you always had mandatory voting. Yeah, some places do have mandatory voting. Some scandal happens in our Parliament House. U.S. Intel knows we're foremost of Parliament. International students are not only contributing through tuition fees, but also lift local economies through buying services and products, renting apartments, purchasing health insurance, and bringing international visitors. So yeah, I mean, this is not just like, we have less foreign students, okay? It's all that economic movement that happens with it too. And Donald Trump basically took a hammer to that. That is a big decline. That is a big decline. Over here, the international students are literally keeping the universities propped up. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. If they go away, our system collapses. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know, like, how much dependent our systems are, but yeah, they bring in a lot of revenue, not just from tuitions, right? Mandatory better candidates would help too. The unis are targeted international students because they can charge them 30% more on tuition. Yeah, the same here. They charge them really, really big amount. They're usually from reasonable, wealthy families anyway, so they splash cash. Yep. Maybe we'll decide if the files get released. No, I don't think that's up to Netanyahu, to be honest. I've heard compulsory voting works pretty well in Australia and other places. U.S. voter turnout is abysmal compared to the rest of the globe. I don't exactly blame them for a myriad of reasons, but feels like it would be more democratic if more folks' choices were being recorded. More options would be nice, ranked choice voting or something like that too. Yeah. A mandatory better country, really. I agree. All right, folks, I gotta get out of here. Food is about to be ready, so I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you all. Thank you for your support, and thank you, Vidingale, for the raid. Appreciate it. Thank you to all the new follows that are hanging out here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hesser, for modding the chat. Do all the things, folks. Check out all the links. Check out all the stuff. Check out my show on this space tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord if you want to support the channel directly. Check out the merch store, !tip, Substack, Discord, YouTube, all the stuff. Like, share, subscribe. You guys are what makes this channel go. If you want to support the channel, the bigliest thing that you can do, okay, and it helps me out bigly, is to spread the word, okay? We're here Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. On Tuesday, we are on this space, YouTube, 7 p.m. Eastern, everybody, every other day, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're here at 5 p.m. Eastern. I agree it's not the most perfect system, but it's better, kind of better than what we would have currently. And that's saying not a lot, honestly. Ladybug, thank you. My pleasure. Thanks for Ramona guiding us here. Hey, appreciate it. Do you raid out? Yes, we're gonna raid out here on the YouTube side, folks. I'm sorry. I have not gone done the due diligence to get how that rating works on YouTube, but yeah, we are gonna raid here. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you, Violet, for hanging out. Hang tight indeed. I appreciate all of you guys being here. You guys are what makes this channel go. Thank you again, Heat and Michael Hassler. Yes, join the Discord. Appreciate it. Thank you all. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all. And hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow at about 7 p.m. Eastern time on this space. See ya. Cheers indeed. IRV on single winner seats doesn't solve gerrymandering. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of problems to solve before. Like, even if we did have that, I mean, it's better, but, you know, I agree. Ah, live redirect. That's what it is. Shout out Monster Rio Punch flavor. Stream W indeed. Thank you. I gotta check out the live redirect. Maybe I can set it to do like automatic. Hang tight, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye bye. Ah, you're saying it does solve. Okay. I'm thinking like, okay, I got what you're saying.